3 armed troopers, 1 my own aide, allow 3 humans, 3 unarmed humans to overpower them. Further, they allow the humans to steal a wagon load of grain I promised would be delivered to the caravan.
I explained, Aboro. They surprised us.
Yes, and I'm considering another surprise for you, Daku. I may have you taken out and shot.
Aboro, wait. Nothing is lost by what happened today. I will find Mikal, and then he'll tell me where the grain is. And then I'll make him tell me who those strangers were. And when I find them...
If you find them... No, I will deal with Mikal. Humans have attacked apes, Daku. This has never before happened in my district. I don't intend to have it happen again.
And welcome back to Ape Nation, your #1 source for all things Planet of the Apes on YouTube. My name is Josh, and today I am giving my review of episode 11 of the short-lived Planet of the Apes TV series from 1974. If you like what I do here and want to show your support, be sure to hit the like button on this video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on all things apes. For those who don't know, this is a series of reviews following every single episode of the show, all leading up to a full series review later this year. And if you haven't seen my reviews of the previous episodes already, you can check all of them out right here. And for those who want to follow along with my reviews, or you just want to check out the entire show for yourself, I've put a link down in the description where you can watch the show completely free. And as per usual, for those who have not seen the show and don't want to be spoiled, I'll start with my general thoughts up top before going a little bit deeper into the episode and giving all of my more detailed thoughts. So if you want to know my thoughts on the episode but don't want to be spoiled on it just yet, you can watch the first part of this video, click off, go watch the episode, and then come back to hear the rest of what I have to say. So with all that said, let's get into Planet of the Apes, episode 11, The Tyrant. When a tyrannical gorilla named Aboro attempts to overthrow a chimpanzee prefect and gain control of a human farming district, Galen, Virdon, and Burke hatch a daring effort to foil his plans of corruption. However, the stakes are soon raised even further when they are once again forced to work together with the only gorilla who poses an even greater threat to them, Urko. So as for my general thoughts, I think this was another really solid, really strong and good episode that I think was well directed and tells another fun story. I really loved how Galen heavy this episode was. He is front and center this entire time. It's mostly his story. I also really loved this new character named Aboro, who is this new villain that's introduced. Not a main villain for the rest of the show, but just in this one episode. And I really loved him as a character. I couldn't get enough of him. I thought he was great, surprisingly great. I was really, really impressed by the actor. And I also really appreciated all of the themes that involve corruption that this episode is tackling. I thought it was really fascinating. I thought it was a lot of fun too, and I thought it was really well executed. I think the ending didn't really work for me. I thought it was a little too abrupt, but aside from that, I didn't really have any issues. And once again, it got me excited for the next episode. I think this was a lot of fun. I loved the way that the story was being told, and again, that it's just really well directed, some really well utilized tension here. And so overall, I think this was a solid episode. I enjoyed it a lot, and now I want to get into why. So like I mentioned before, I think Aboro, this new character, is a great new villain. He is a lot of fun to watch. He's that stereotypical mustache twirling villain who really just wants full control, full power. So he's definitely a character that under a lot of circumstances I would just say is one note and not very interesting. But I think the actor, Percy Rodriguez, just does such a great job at portraying him. He really is able to have a lot of charisma present on screen, and I think it goes a long way in making this character so memorable and so fun and such a menacing, threatening villain. And I was really actually intimidated by him. I also think as far as new characters go, I really liked Augustus. I found him to be pretty instantly likable and surprisingly compelling for such little screen time we get with him, which is why I wish he was in the episode more and more involved in the story. I thought he was going to be kind of along for the entire ride when he's introduced in the beginning of the episode as Galen's cousin and how that all goes down, but we don't really see or hear from him again after that initial meeting, so I was kind of disappointed by that. And speaking of Augustus, I liked the dynamic between Augustus and Galen. Even even though it's only for basically a scene, I really liked the dynamic between the two of them. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it got me wanting to see the two of them pairing up more. Wanted to see Augustus join us on this story, maybe even join us for later episodes. Obviously, I don't think that's going to happen, but it was just something that I thought was really nice. He was just a character that I really enjoyed, and I appreciated the relationship between him and Galen. And another relationship between characters that I really liked was the one between Aboro and Urko. I think it actually almost humanizes Urko somewhat, and it uses him in an interesting way that I haven't really seen before in this show. It's an interesting dynamic between two villain characters that ultimately go against each other by the end of the episode, but I was really fascinated by the two of them and how they interacted with each other and how that all played out. And then going off of those two and their role in the story, the way that this episode explores corruption in ape society and how it's frowned upon and how it's shamed, and specifically how it's in the nature of the gorillas, I thought that was something that was interesting. And I will say, I do wish that they tapped into all this stuff a little bit further, gotten a little bit deeper into it, but still, I think they did a good job at tackling the subject, and I'm hoping that maybe they touch on that a little bit further in future episodes. This is the kind of stuff that I love seeing explored in Planet of the Apes, this kind of government corruption and things that are reflective of our own society. So I really liked seeing that there. And I also, like I mentioned up top, I think once again, which has been consistently happening throughout at least the most recent episodes, I think the use of tension and the direction in this episode is really, really solid. I think it has a really great pace and a great rhythm to the whole thing from start to finish. So I think this episode flows really well. And also, like I mentioned earlier, this is a very Galen heavy episode, which I was very appreciative of. I really love this character Galen. I've said it before, but he's my favorite character in the show so far. So anytime we get a lot of Galen stuff, I'm really happy. And he's basically the main character through the entire thing. I will say it does come at the expense of getting any, if not much at all, of Virdon and Burke. We don't really get much of them in this episode. They don't really have much to do. But considering that I love Galen so much and this is very much one of his episodes, I'm fine with it. Even though I have been down on the fact that Virdon hasn't gotten a whole lot to do the last few episodes, at the very least this one is heavily focused on Galen, so I guess it's fine. And then as for the story, I thought it was very fun. I thought it was really smartly put together, and it felt like a fun little mystery story with all these chess pieces lining up here and there throughout the first half of the episode into place before everything comes together at the end, with the plot to thwart Aboro's plan and teaming up with Urko and tricking Aboro and putting all that into place and exposing all that. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a lot of fun, and again, the pacing I think helps that a lot. Another thing about this episode that I really enjoyed was the gorillas. I think something that this episode did that actually a lot of this show has been doing, but this one in particular did, is making the gorillas feel like a real threat in this universe, which is something that, dare I say, I think they've actually done a better job at it in this show than they ever did in the original movies. While I always thought the gorillas were cool and I thought they could be pretty menacing at times in those original movies, if I'm being honest, a lot of the time they just kind of felt like dumb brutes, and they definitely have that element in this show, but I think this show has done a better job at actually capturing why I should be scared of them, why they're actually threatening to our main characters, and I think for the most part this show has done a really good job of that, and in this particular episode it really comes to a head. Speaking of gorillas, the Urko team up that has to happen towards the end of the episode, I thought it was really unexpected, and it doesn't necessarily go in the direction I was expecting it to, and ultimately by the end we're still left in the same place we were with Urko. You know, it hasn't really moved him in our character's favor at all, but I thought that was an interesting direction to take the story, at least temporarily. I liked seeing them use Urko in that way. One thing I mentioned up top is the ending didn't really work for me. It felt too abrupt. It doesn't have really much of a resolution from our heroes aside from them escaping. The final scene of the episode is just Aboro getting his comeuppance, and that's it. It felt like it was almost a cliffhanger, but it didn't feel like it was supposed to be a cliffhanger. I don't know. The ending just kind of happens and then it's over and then the credits roll. So I found that to be really abrupt and off-putting. But aside from that, I thought this was a really solid episode. It'll probably be up there in terms of how I rank the episodes when all is said and done. I don't know where it'll be, but it'll be definitely pretty high up there. And I overall really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Again, the story was really smart. I loved the character of Aboro and specifically the actor who plays him. I thought does a fantastic job. This was a great episode, another win for me. And as much as I do have some issues with this show in terms of how it's overall structured, I'm enjoying myself a lot, and I'm hoping to continue enjoying myself with the next few episodes as we get towards the end of this series. But I want to know what you guys have to say about this episode down in the comments below. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? What do you think about the character Aboro? Do you enjoy him as much as I did? Do you enjoy him as much as I do? Do you also agree that Augustus should have been in this episode more? Did you want to see more of his dynamic with Galen? And what did you think about how it ended? So I want to know all of your thoughts down in the comments comments below. I will be back, of course, next week with my review for episode 12 of the Planet of the Apes TV show. But until then, thank you so much for checking out today's video here on Ape Nation. If you liked this video, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you can stay up to date on all things apes. I'll catch you in the next one, so until then, goodbye.